Anyway, so today we're just talking about really basic audio editing. This is for filmmakers, for people doing webisodes, for anyone that deals in media and visuals and needs to do some sound editing with it. I've got my outline of what I'm going to cover here on the side, so that way you guys can kind of just check it out. So one of the first things that we're going to talk about, and like I said, this is very basic, is just levels. Okay, so for example, I have a mic here, and if you watch, this is not going to be the greatest audio, but if you watch, you'll see that as I'm talking, there's all these lines, right? There's green, there's yellow, and there's red. There's red. So what you want to do when you're recording is you want to avoid the red. Ideally, you want to keep it in the yellow, but once you get past the red, what happens is something called clipping. And I'll just show you what happens right here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to enable this. I'm going to record. And we're just going to do some testing. So test, 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 test. Okay. So if you notice here, there are various sounds here, and I'll play it back in the test, 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 test. Okay, right here, there, and even in this one too. If you look very closely here, you'll see that it's clipped, it's cut it. Now, when we used to do cassette tapes back in the day, what happened was that it would just kind of have a funky sound, but it wasn't a big deal. Because this is digital, essentially you are losing information, and I won't go too much into all the details of that, but you're losing valuable information. You're losing actual audio, and there's no way to get that back. It sounds funky, it sounds unprofessional, it sounds amateur. So when you're mixing, you want to keep it in the green or yellow. You also have the problem that if you have like a section like this, or even this, okay, if you are recording and you see that everything is this small, this is just visuals. I'm going with visuals because we're filmmakers, right? You look at this, it's this small, you've got a problem. Because to make this loud enough to equal everything else in your film, you're going to have to jack up the sound so loud that all the crap that's going on in the background, that's air conditioning noise, that's somebody breathing, that's saliva, like saliva's nasty, like saliva's gross. Okay, rustling, feet shuffling, the weirdest things that you did not think ever had sound is really going to be pumped up when you have to, have it up. So I would suggest, try to keep it no smaller than this, and definitely do not clip. Ideally, you should be able to get it where it's almost to the edges, but not quite there. For regular to louder speaking voices. So that's one thing to avoid. This is called distortion, and you do not want to do digital distortion. It was cool in the analog days. It's now uncool and just unprofessional in general. So that's our first example there. Okay. Now, another example, a lot of people have a tendency to go, hey, I'll fix it in post. Okay. There are some things you can fix in post. For example, if I'm talking, right? What's up? I love pizza. This little, you can actually sit down. That's the clap right there. You can just kind of cut it out. Okay, so you can just split it right there. Okay, and you can do that, and bam, it's gone. What's up? I love pizza. So that's doable. Now, on the other hand, if I'm talking and there's noise going on meanwhile, hey there, I really love eating pizza. Pizza is like the best stuff in the whole wide freaking universe. Pizza, 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 pizza. I love pizza. You can just see there, this is going to be impossible to cut. Okay? And you can hear it when I play it back, which I'll play it back now. There. I really love eating pizza. Pizza is like the best stuff in the whole wide freaking universe. There is no way to split that up. That's a really obvious example. Less obvious examples are when your lead is talking and in the background somebody drops something, sneezes, coughs, a dog barks, airplane goes by, car goes by. There's some things that we can do on our end. Like for instance, regarding frequency, like, if somebody's voice is like way up here and the sound that's annoying is down there is a way to split up the frequencies. So that way anything that's below a certain hertz is kicked out entirely, cut, and your actor's voice is kept. However, when you do that, sometimes some of the warmth of their voice disappears and they sound a little tinny. So ideally, your audio that you have in your filmmaking needs to be almost perfect, minus of course dialogue is going to be messed up or whatever, but try to assume that the person that's going to be doing your editing for sound is just adding stuff like reverb and getting rid of some extraneous stuff. There's a line that was messed up, so you need to cut that together to make a better line. Don't assume that they can work miracles. Most of them can. I know I've done some pretty crazy stuff. When I did my film Libertaria, I had 1,000 vocal tracks. I did a lot of nitpicky, crazy editing that it was insane. Okay, so it is possible to do, especially once again, if there's an issue that the sound, especially let's say a car goes by and the person's a female that's speaking, it's probably going to be pretty easy to get that out of there, even if there's an overlap. But if it's a dog barking and it's a male speaking at the same time, believe it or not, they might have the same frequency and it might be hard to separate the two sounds. Point is, avoid extra noise if you can help it, especially avoid overlapping noise, or if you have to, let the car pass, then continue the dialogue. Let the dog finish its barking, it'll finish eventually, then continue your talking. Another issue that comes up is when you have dialogue and music competing with each other. Or sound effects even. So a person's talking and in the background you have lots of music playing at the same time.